Yo, welcome to I'm My Own Aesthetic. I am your host, Nijil Staley. I'm going to start out with something completely honest. I don't have it all figured out. And yes, that applies to my everyday life. But more specifically, right now, I'm just talking about the podcast. I don't exactly know what IMOA is going to become. I do know what I want it to be, but in the moment, I have no clue what it's going to be. I don't know if this is a mental health podcast. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion podcast. I don't know if it's a podcast about the most random things and random moments that people just randomly may want to hear. I don't know if these episodes are going to be mostly me. I don't know if they're going to be mostly guests telling their stories. I don't know if eventually there's another co-host. To be completely honest, it could turn into something completely different from everything that I've already said. And for a while, that uncertainty felt uncomfortable. It also led to procrastination. But lately, I've been starting to realize maybe not knowing is my most honest place to start. So today, we're just going to talk about pretty much the future to what I think this podcast is going to be. And first things first, um, I guess a little bit that has really been a big thing for my life and a reason I felt like I was able to start this is because lately I've been realizing that the world has just become overly sensitive when it comes to conversations. And not sensitive in a caring way, like, oh my goodness, I feel for you. No, that's not even what I'm talking about. I mean, where people take things entirely too personal. Like, if someone thinks differently, if someone says something imperfectly, if someone asks a hard question, disagreements become rejection, curiosity becomes criticism, and conversations honestly just now require an emotional armor. Why has the world turned conversations into an attack? I don't know. That is not me. I'm one of those people that I'll ask questions. I don't mind listening. Just because I ask a question and challenge your opinion, I'm not telling you don't have your opinion. I'm just telling you mine and my viewpoint on it. And that's okay. I'm cool. We can keep it there. It is perfectly fine to disagree. But because how the world is turning, it's just been ruining life for me a little bit. It's to the point, I don't know if this is more or less me shelling myself or becoming less of myself, or just, which honestly I feel like just me so nonchalant, it's just exiling a little bit of myself just to avoid all of that. But I miss when we could talk openly without constantly calculating how what we say might be interpreted. Because people are allowed to think differently. People are allowed to say what they actually think, what they actually feel. And people can genuinely ask questions. Yes, I'm aware that some people do ask questions to be messy. Some people ask questions to gaslight, manipulate, and stuff like that. But you can't automatically think every time somebody asks you questions and things along that nature that it's just a ill intent. Typically, you'll know those type of people, and you'll know because you'll start recognizing those patterns. But that's a conversation for a different day. But when people think differently, when people say what they feel and what they think, and when people ask questions, that doesn't automatically mean disrespect. That's human conversation. That is connection in its rawest form. So I guess in a sense, that is what I've been missing about life. It has changed probably throughout history, but I have seen it firsthand, and people that know me know that at my core, I'm one of those people. Again, I don't care what you think. I don't care how you feel. You can feel that. You can think that. It's not going to change mine, but because we don't see eye to eye or think the same thing, or you ask me a hard question or I ask you a hard question, that's not going to make me think you have animosity, and I'm not doing or asking or things like that for animosity. Um, so I do miss that. So back to the original thing when I said I don't have it all figured out. That is more or less what was going in my brain when I was like, oh, I want to start a podcast. Now, although I don't have it all figured out, I do know what IMOA is not going to be. This isn't a performative space. It's not a highlight reel where myself or anyone that comes on here is going to pretend to be a perfect version of themselves. It's not going to be somewhere where we come over here and point fingers. It's not going to be where people come and be defensive when conversations feel uncomfortable. That's not my intent. That's not what I want. That's not the lifestyle I live. And by no means is this going to be a place for coming to brag about your own success or degrading anybody that you've encountered or degrading anybody that you think differently from. That, again, that's not the point. That's fine if you think different, and that's fine if you're proud of yourself, but we're not here to make ourselves look king or queen of the crop, and we're not here to belittle anybody. That's 100% absolutely not. There's a way to be real and honest with what you say and how you feel without all of that, honestly. We live in a world where conversations often feel like performances, where people talk to prove something instead of understanding something. A lot of people always say communication is key, communication is key, communication is key. And although I agree with that in a sense, to me it's always been more comprehension. Comprehension is the key. You can communicate anything you want, you can say anything you want, you can feel how you want to feel and all that, but until you just really honestly take the time to sit there and understand not only yourself, but the person you're just talking to, it's those things can make you question, is it disrespect? It can, if you're turning very defensive, you're not going to actually sit there and hear what the person is thinking or why they came to that conclusion or why they are the way they are. And the same with you. You aren't going to understand why you are the way you are if you're not open to actually taking things less personal, less sensitive. So that was all kind of a rant. That will probably be an episode in itself because I could go on about that all day. But I'm my own aesthetic. The center of all of it is something that I keep coming back to, and it is that word, aesthetic. That is a word I've always loved. That is just, I really honestly feel like it's me. I feel like I spoke about this in one of the other episodes about what I learned about aesthetic and the aesthetic of myself and all of that. It's not based on how you look. It's not what you post. It's not how polished your life appears. It's that internal aesthetic that drew me so much to the name because everyone has one. That internal aesthetic of when everything gets quiet, when there's no audience, when there's no expectations, no performance, and it's just you learning yourself in real time. That's the aesthetic that I'm talking about. I can't remember how in depth I went on it, but I'll go into it a little bit more. Everything has an aesthetic, I feel like. But I feel like no aesthetic is the same. Everybody go through things. Everybody have things that they think. Everybody has reasons to why they think them things. Everybody, regardless if you know it at the time or not, have reasons that they went through things in their life. And regardless if you think your life was amazing or chaotic, good, bad, whatever that is, all that is a part of your aesthetic on who you are today. And honestly, maybe that's why I'm okay not knowing exactly what this podcast will be yet. Because as much as I want this to be for somebody, I want it to be for everybody. Not just people that relate to one specific topic, label, or experience. Not just people who have everything figured out, but for anyone that feels like they just need a place that feels a little lighter, that feels softer, that just is honest in its most pure form. A space where conversations don't have to be loud to matter, they just have to be real. A lot of times we do see these podcasts where they're very specific to a type of setting. Back to what I was saying earlier, they have podcasts talk about people's mental health. There's podcasts that talk about businesses and sports, and that is great. But I myself am interested in so much, and because I think connection is such a real thing, you never know who connects with what and how they connect until you just have that human conversation. And a lot of times, the best human conversation isn't tailored towards a specific thing. So that's just why I wanted this space. I wanted this space to just have that connection. I wanted this space to talk about the rough things, not necessarily like things that went on in your life and things that you had to go through, but just you might challenge the way somebody thinks. But there's a respectful way to do it. There's a way to get your point across. There's a way to say how you feel and say what you want to think. But there's also a way to listen. There's also a way to realize that, oh, I'm completely different from them. I see it this way, and this is why I see it, because this thing happened. But let me hear why they think different from me. And it's not to, which I feel like is a misconception, that anytime people speak on things or have opposing viewpoints, that is, they're trying to persuade the other person. Again, that is not, I don't know where all this came from, but no. So I guess really IMOA is what I want. Really. I mean, in a sense. But even more importantly, from what I want, I think it's something that people need. People need to see that people can sit down and have disagreements. People can see, oh wow, they're not that different from me. Oh wow, listen to their story and how their story may be similar to mine, but they still look at life this way. It could be somebody had a lifestyle that you think you wanted, but they think of life different. The point is, I have no clue how it's going to be. So, where does this podcast go from here? Honestly, I don't know yet. I don't have it all figured out. And maybe that's the aesthetic. I do want to thank everybody that have watched this far. It's going to be a short little prelude. It may or may not roll into season one. Season one may be its own thing. I may combine the prelude with all of season one. I don't know. But everybody that has been supportive with me along the way, regardless if that's people that ask me how it's going, people that offer some help, people that reach out and say, hey, I don't know what it's going to be about, but I'd love to be on there just to support you so you can have another face. And even the people that, again, because this is me, the people that's, why haven't I seen anything? Why haven't you done anything? Like, you need to come on. Like even all of that, I appreciate all that. Hold me accountable, because that accountability lets me know that it's something people are wanting, and that just makes me want it to be even better. So, all y'all already feel like family to me. Make sure you do all the things, all the likes, subscribe, follow. Not because I want it for me, but I want it to be pushed out, and I want everybody to feel like they have a space where they just feel like they can have a breath of fresh air. Love y'all, IMOA family, and I guess I'll see y'all in the next season or the next episode or whatever it is, because again, I don't have it all figured out. That's all I got for you. All right. Okay. Bye.